They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 25, Thursday partly sunny with a high near 33, and Friday partly cloudy with a high near 38. Now's the time to act. Join AM 950 Radio as a member today and get your 2025 calendar as a thank you gift. With a larger donation, you'll also receive Tom Hartman's signed book. Don't delay. Visit am950radio.com and support progressive radio. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be Indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is supported by JS Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Hey, we got a couple things going on today. One, we're going to have our friend Arvina Martin from the great state of Wisconsin and one of my all-time favorite cities in the world here, Madison, Wisconsin, stopping in and chewing the buffalo, chewing the bison, chewing the fat. I don't know how we can say that, and then our friend Bob Blake from Red Lake with Solar Bear with the Solar News, we checking in. A lot going on as always here in the Twin Cities. I know I'm a comedian in my own mind, and there's going to be a big auntie energy going on at the Parkway Theater again. And every year it sells out, and this year it's going to be on Friday, January 24th at 6:30. Doors open. It starts at 7:30, and it's always sells out. And you can go online at the parkwaytheater.com, or it's $25 at the door. So lots of fun there. It's always sold out. A lot of good energy. It's open to everybody. A lot of Native humor. but humor is, it's almost like native issues are human issues, but human issues are native issues, but it's humor issues are native humor and human. You know how that goes. I'll work on that for next show, Haley.
And who's going to be performing at the Big Auntie Energy Show, Robert?
Is that a trick question? Trish.
Oh, you read it. You skipped that part.
Oh yes, you're giving away our secrets again. Haley's got this whole prepared out there, and Deanna Standing Cloud, Rob Fairbanks, and Trish Cook, and host Gabriel Nightshield. That's at the Parkway Theater, January 24th. I don't know. Have you made any of them? I made 2 of them, and they were hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to make sure we shouted out the names, because when I hear Deanna and Trish, a duo, they're so iconic together. That just calls for some big auntie belly laughs, at least for me. So I'll definitely be checking this one out on Friday, January 24th at the Parkway Theater in Minneapolis. Again, 6:30 doors open, shows at 7:30. Recommend getting your tickets online for a little bit cheaper of a price, and that's at theparkwaytheater.com. But yeah, that'll be fun, and we'll get them on the show soon, hopefully before that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And remember, Deanna Standing Cloud did the last play from New Native Theater, the kind of the podcast, but I thought of it more as like a radio broadcast. It was really fun with microphones and actors coming up, and what a great play and what a great talent we have here in the Twin Cities. Really excited to hear their observations and the humor, and Rob Fairbanks is always a big. I didn't know he was an auntie, but he is always a good comedian.
Yeah, that's cool. It'll be like a trio of Ojibwe comedians. That'll be a great night. You mentioned New Native Theater. Great shout out for Deanna's performance, show that she wrote, Blood Quantum Physics. That was a series part of a play, and New Native Theater just put out a new casting call. This is for the Nut, the Hermit, the Crow, and the Monk. Actors needed for native roles in that production for New Native Theater. You can send your headshot and bio to info@newnativetheater with RE at the end.org.
I sent yours in, Haley, so expect for a casting call here very soon.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait too. It'll be a tradition to go see that play. Hey, every year too, Enda Young has this awesome powwow. And this year again, it's at Johnson Senior High School. It's the 26th annual Cherish the Children. Let's try that again. Cherish the Children traditional powwow, and the grand entries are at 1 and 7. Feast at 5, and then Sunday they'll have a grand entry at 1. But to me, Haley, that's one of the premier powwows during the winter here in the Twin Cities. That's huge. A lot of vendors. It's really I'm gonna see if we can get the grandbabies out for that, because that's a good one, right?
Yeah, gotta cherish those grandbabies. I know MC will be Jerry Dearly. I think he does that one pretty annually.
Yep.
And it's always a great time to see Jerry out there, one of our great elders in community. But yeah, that'll be fun. I'm always looking forward to that one. Enda Young is a great group, and very much needed here in the Twin Cities.
Well, you have those great skirts you make, and with pockets, and maybe you can put your new beaded hat on too, and get out there for some dancing. Oh,
Yeah, we'll be rocking some mocks, I'm sure. Definitely some beaded accessories too.
right on. Hey, we have our friend Arvina Martin. Should we drag her into this right away?
Hey, Arvina, we saw those Packers lost. Eh?
Hey, saw the Vikes lost too. We're just a bunch of sad sacks here today, aren't we?
Sad whole chunks.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
hey, let me introduce you, Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, Ho-Chunk. And we don't like to talk about the Stockbridge Muncie part of you, but you are that too.
I sure am. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right on. Hey, so let's get it over with. Packers were lackluster and the Vikings were super lackluster. So I guess I don't have to watch any more football the rest of the year.
I mean, I'm actually actively rooting for the Lions at this point. You know, I remember the 80s and like feeling like my entire life that the Packers were terrible until Brett Favre came and changed everything. So like I remember those days. And so, you know, I want it for the Lions fans. They, you know, that team has been putting in the work, and they have some really fast receivers and running backs and everything. And I fingers crossed. And then at least we can say that we kept the NFL, the Lombardi Trophy in the NFC North.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to think about it. I'm a little more, well, you know, what I was hoping for, Arvina, was the Vikings and the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, two teams that have lost 4 Super Bowls, and one of them would have to win it. So, but that dream ended very quickly. Wendy and I were in New York at right next to Penn Station. There's this Vikings bar there, and there was thousands of people in there, and yeah, we kind of snuck out of there at halftime, heading back to Long Beach.
Yeah, I was in the UP watching the Packer game and did not even make it to halftime, and I fell asleep, sadly. It was snowing a lot. There was a lot, you know, it took a lot to move around while we were up there, so.
It's snowing a lot. It kind of reminds me of The Wizard of Oz and the poppy seed, you know, where they were going up to that. Well, that's another thing.
I've never seen The Wizard of Oz.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow. Well, that was a thing. We only got a minute left here, but that was standard because they played it every year on TV from the 60s on. And I don't know if they lost their copyright, but that was played a lot every year, like during Thanksgiving. So that's when I got to see it. But seen it since, and also seen Wicked, and been Broadway and seen that 3 times, and watched the movie. And yeah. Okay. This is Native Roots Radio, and we're here with Arvina Martin and Haley Cherry. We'll be right back.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Step into the world of movement and Native culture at Nimiwin, now showing at All My Relations Arts. Nimiwin is translated as Everyone Dance. This moving multimedia exhibition, curated by Josie Hoffman, delves into the connection between movement and identity, drawing inspiration from dance and powwow traditions. It showcases the work of Indigenous artists from Minnesota, emphasizing the fluidity of movement in our bodies, land, and community. Witness Nimiwin and its powerful expression on Indigenous art. On display now through January 18th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
A home that needs new everything. Plus the kitchen sink. Life math is complicated. Affinity Plus makes it easier. With great rates on a home equity line of credit, we make tackling home projects less stressful. Visit affinityplus.org/rates to learn more today. Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACD, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we are here with our friend Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin and a Ho Chunk. It's a Ho Chunk show, and we just had Charisse introduce this next segment. So we're on a roll here, Arvina.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Hey, so what's happening in Wisconsin here? And I know it's hard for us to take a breath, and there's another election coming around the corner, and I've been getting some emails talking about another Supreme Court election. Is that true?
Yes, we are having actually Wisconsin has elections every spring, which I didn't realize until like not too long ago. But so this election in spring, the April general election will have the Supreme Court race on it. It will have it. Excuse me, my words are not working for me today. It's going to be a race between progressive candidate Susan Crawford and a conservative candidate as well, whose name has escaped me actually. Is it crud? I can't remember what his name is, but Susan Crawford is the incumbent, or not the incumbent, is the progressive, and she is pretty fabulous.
Well, I'm excited, and maybe we had Protasewicz on the last election here because we have such a big following in Wisconsin. We'll have to try and pull that together again. And were you proud of me? I know Haley is all the time when I can say Protasewicz.
Hey, that's it. It's very. It took me a while to be able to say too. We have a former mayor here in Madison whose last name is Cheslevitz, and it is spelled in a way that does not look anything like Cheslevitz. So
I'd still be struggling with that one now, I'm sure.
yeah.
And we got to stay connected in too. And how do we do that and stay healthy? Because and I mean that emotionally because
Mhm.
I just see some things that just I wanna not see, and especially with what's going down here with this Fox News reporter that wants to be ahead of the military, and he's from Minnesota too, and I'm not
Oh
proud to say
dear.
that, but isn't that weird?
They can't all be winners. They can't all be Tim Walz's.
Or Haley Cherry.
That
Almost said it.
too.
Yeah.
Or Robert
Mm.
Pilots.
Oh, there you go. I was
Yeah, there you go.
you knew that. But, how do we stay, mentally healthy with what's going on around us? And I know it was really aggravating and unreal. I mean, last time or Trump was in, it was, recorded 38,000 lies. The last debate he did was, with 90 minutes was over 30 lies. And here we go.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is it's okay to turn off the news. If what's happening is distressing, or triggers any past traumatic responses or things like that, it's okay to turn the news off and then maybe find out what's happening. If you need to know, find out what's happening in a way that's easier for you to consume. And along those lines as well is staying away from screens, and making sure that you have your time away from screens, which for me is really hard because I almost always either have my laptop, my cell phone, or my TV on, sometimes all three, depending on what I'm doing. But taking that time out to get away and be present in your own environment, and not a screen to a world somewhere else. I think that those are really important things, and checking in on yourself and noticing if things feel weird, or if you've got a little spot on your shoulder that like you can't rub, like it's just a little knot of tension. Those terrible ones that you can't reach. Listen to your body if that's doing something. Make sure that you're checking your body posture and making sure your shoulders are down, and there's so many little things that you can do to kind of help keep yourself in the best kind of mindset and physical space to be able to have that mindset, I guess. Well, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and it's hard here too, Arvina, that, we're having a little messy, things happening here in our former trifecta here in Minnesota, and I don't know if you've been aware of that, but,
No.
we have one vote in the Senate, and it wasn't the Senate election, but one of our progressive members passed away, so now it's tied
Oh
until the
no.
next several elect. And then we had another one where with the representatives that one person wasn't living in his district, and they had to, he won, and they have to do another election. So right now, until the special elections happen, the Republicans are one up in the House of Representatives here in Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is I'm actually really surprised that I didn't know that that was happening. I've been in my projects too much this week, I think.
Yeah. Well,
That is wild. And, and it goes to show you that, like, a majority that you think you have isn't always going to be there, and you don't know what's going to happen. And things, luck can change, and the tides may go the other way, or whatever the metaphors are. There's so many of them. But it does change things substantially for you guys.
yeah, and I always like, the reason why I bring that up to Arvina is I always like to fall back when it comes talk about the national, scene and not paying attention now because of the way things are nationally, is to look more locally, but now locally, we have a little rockiness, so now I'm gonna have to go, county-wise here or city-wise here and support my city council people.
Yeah, oh yes, definitely. As a former city council person, you should most certainly support your local candidates for, like, city or town council, village board, or school boards, county board seats, things like that. Those folks are the ones that end up doing a lot of the work that affects you from day to day. And so, getting to know them, might help sometime when you are an email in the inbox and it says there's a big pothole in my, like, right outside my driveway, kind of thing. They're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, our mental health will be tested here in the next 4 years, and,
Yeah. And
uh,
check on others, check on your friends and family too. That sometimes we all get, and I am very guilty of this too, getting so wrapped up in what I'm doing, whether it's my work, whether it is a beading project, or something like that, that it's, I need somebody to kind of reach out and like kind of break me out of it. Almost, it's like a hyper focus. And those checks are really important for me to be able to, take care of myself. So I'm always grateful when friends and family check in with me.
yeah, well, and, with your job, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit in the next segment too, with what you do for the community in the state of Wisconsin, that's a good medicine too, to keep track of that and supporting the people that are gonna be moving forward, which is we need, more of that, and it's great that, Emerge Wisconsin is emerging.
Absolutely. And I have a cat who wants to be on the show
Yeah,
as well.
and
Um,
reminds me of Doctor Evil, from, Austin
she
Powers.
does have a she does have a mustache. No, I don't think so, Rita. In any case, I'm sure this is fabulous radio.
She
But she's
yeah,
got her claws in, so I don't think I can move her.
okay, so he's in
Um,
there for this segment.
what were things that are yeah, like I said, the spring elections are those are the where you get your, at least in Wisconsin, where you get your very local candidates and positions. And so, like, far fewer people vote in spring elections because they're not really the sexy races.
Mhm.
But it's very important. Like I said, these are the people that deal with things that you see in everyday life, like your road conditions, your public schools, and things like that. So pay attention and make sure you make your vote count.
Yeah, and we're going to probably take a quick break here in another few seconds here, but we want
Try to
Arvina to
extract
be
the
able to,
cat.
I was going to say declaw your cat, but that's not the right way to put it. But yeah, I liked how you said it. Hey, Arvina, we're going to be taking a quick break here, and this is Native Roots Radio, and we're with Arvina Martin, who's Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin, and we'll talk a little bit more about her work and how we can support it and how we can find out more information. This is Native Roots Radio.
Stay with us.
Step into the world of movement and native culture at Nimiwin, now showing at All My Relations Arts. Nimiwin is translated as Everyone Dance. This moving multimedia exhibition, curated by Josie Hoffman, delves into the connection between movement and identity, drawing inspiration from dance and powwow traditions. It showcases the work of Indigenous artists from Minnesota, emphasizing the fluidity of movement in our bodies, land, and community. Witness Nimiwin and its powerful expression on Indigenous art. On display now through January 18th at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center.
Winter evenings may be dark, but the skies shine with stars. Join the Walker this February for pop-up planetarium experiences. First Nations astronomer Wilfred Buck Cree will lead a guided experience focused on Indigenous star lore and celestial traditions on February 13th. Gallery admission is free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. That's walkerart.org.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Chronic diseases, often pervasive and long-lasting, undeniably pose difficult challenges. At Hypercharge Wellness, we recognize the pressing need for integrative solutions that complement medical treatments, ensuring a true holistic approach. We've harnessed physician-directed, evidence-based modalities to promote well-being, symptom alleviation, and improve quality of life for those struggling with chronic conditions, including autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, migraine, dementia, and more. Chronic diseases present complex interplay of immunological, genetic, and environmental factors. While managing these conditions, integrating non-invasive, evidence-based modalities can offer a significant improvement in one's quality of life. At Hypercharge, we prioritize cutting-edge therapies tailored to target the root cause of these disorders. Experience a free introductory session at Hypercharge Wellness at your convenient locations based in Maple Grove, Eden Prairie, and Woodbury. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. Call or schedule online for your free introductory session valued at $200 today. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. Hypercharge is hope.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 25, Thursday partly sunny with a high near 33, and Friday partly cloudy with a high near 38. Looking for a cozy neighborhood bar and restaurant in Minneapolis? Nightingale serves delicious American classics like their famous Nightingale Burger, ginger tamari chicken wings, and more. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with takeout available. Visit nightingalempls.com for details.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, I do. Hey, we are here with our friend and Ho-Chunk citizen Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin. And well, let's check in on what's happening with Emerge and what's going on, and tell our listening audience, because we get people all over the country jumping on and listening on all our different platforms. And maybe you can just fill people in first on what Emerge Wisconsin is.
Yeah, Emerge Wisconsin is an organization that trains and recruits Democratic women and trains them on how to run for office. We have been doing this here in Wisconsin for almost 15 years, I believe. We're one of the earlier states, and we have over 300 alums that have been trained through our statewide training program.
Yes, and you had some candidates this last cycle, and
we did. Our candidates in the fall general election won at a rate of 92%. So we're pretty pleased with that result.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Were you an Emerge person when you ran for city council?
Yes, I had done Emerge in 2014, which was about 3 years before I ran for city council. And honestly, I don't know if I would have run had I not done Emerge. So it got me there. It got me to yes to to run.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just for people that don't know about Arvina Martin, she's the first Native American city council member in the history of the great city of Madison, Wisconsin. And as we were talking earlier, Haley and I love the city of Madison. I would live there if I wasn't here in New York or St. Paul.
Yeah, and Madison's pretty great. And I love my home, and there's going to actually we're having city council elections this year, so or this spring rather. So all of Madison's alders are up for re-election. There are 20, and so every single one up for re-election. The mayor is not up herself. She has a 4-year term. And that's going to be some stuff that's on our ballot here in Madison in the spring.
Yeah, that's exciting. And I love when I lived in Madison the first time, regular cars could drive on State Street. That's how old I am.
I've never seen that.
No, I'm a lot older than you are, Arvina. That was the 70s when I lived there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a lot different now. And it's even a lot different, like the State Street area is much different than, it was before the pandemic. And it still kind of surprises me going down there, how it's mostly now restaurants and bars and not so many quirky shops and things like that. But, things evolve, and that's okay. And to fit the needs of the community, we need more cafes and restaurants. That's not bad.
What's fun too is one of our sister stations is on State Street now, and that's Devil Advocate Radio is on their studios on State Street, a couple blocks from the Capitol. And whenever I'm in Madison, I stop in and say hello, so they say hello back. Oh.
Yeah, those guys have been around for a while. I think they came up during the Act 10 protests about the ending of public unions in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that was heavy duty. That was heavy duty. People were sleeping and staying in the Capitol, right?
There were, it was really exciting. I was an intern for like the Democratic Party, and that was my first job was as a comms intern. So I was there taking pictures and talking to people and writing things down that we could use and for social media or anything. And it was absolutely wild, and seeing how people were taking care of each other, whether people bringing in like protein bars or pallets of like Gatorade, and like everybody knew where to go pick some stuff up, or if you needed first aid, there were band-aids and things to wipe things off and everything. It was quite the remarkable experience. And I brought my daughter, who at the time was like maybe 3, and there was no violence. It was all just a lot of shouting, and walking and everything, and sign carrying, on the outside, as opposed to the inside, where people were trying to speak with their representatives and senators, and trying to affect what was happening at the time.
You know what? It also reminds me, shortly after that was Save the Mound, and we came with busloads of ho chunk from Minnesota with a couple of busloads full. And I remember it was really cold, and we marched around the Capitol and kind of powwowed in the Capitol, and there were speakers, and then we had to leave at a certain time. And then on our way back to the Twin Cities, we heard that the bill had been defeated.
Yeah, the thing I remember the most about that day was how cold it was. And I was so prepared and so layered. And then my toe warmers didn't work. They never kicked in. So that was a little rough, but the crowd that day was very, you know, e- excited. It wasn't a crowd of people that was sitting there huddling because they were cold. Like
Right.
there was movement, there was activity, there was all kinds of like you said, coming in. I remember, I think it was hearing the Bear Clan song as we went in, and just being like,
Mhm.
that sound, in that cavernous space is just so. I just love the way our songs sound in that building, and hearing the Bear Clan song come in was a pretty powerful moment as well.
Yeah, I definitely. And then I always remember getting off the bus and there was pizza, but it was so cold, the pizza was already cold when we
Oh
got.
no. Oh no.
Remember I think Ho Chunk was feeding us.
That sounds about right. I think so. And I know we got t-shirts, because I have mine somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I still have a big sign. It's out in my garage. I think I'm gonna give it to Haley because she collects signs in her garage. She gave me
Nice.
some stuff.
Thank you.
Save the Mound, and it's got a picture of the mounds on there. It's
Yeah.
yeah, that I'll definitely bring that over soon.
Yeah, they're still protesting things like that, even here in Minnesota along the St. Croix.
Oh, with the mounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's, we talked to over the years, Arvina and Haley, with people from the Minnesota Historical Society that know where certain mounds are up north here, and they won't tell people because they don't want them desecrated. And part of me is like, oh God, I wish I could go up there and see it, but I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. There's we ran into that when I was on the historic preservation, or the board commission in Madison, and working with our historic preservation officer. She taught me about that, about um how they keep those sites, like, and even when they're potentially like an argument about like what to do with a property, like there's a zone. It'll say this is the zone of possibility, as I think that's what the term is, of like there being a mound there, rather than saying the mound is right here.
Mhm.
um so that people will not mess with it. And you're right, it's too bad that there aren't any kind of concessions for, I mean, I don't know how you would do it to be able to like only let Native people come visit these sites, because of what they mean to us. I don't know how you could pull that off.
Right. Well, right, because people that probably even live in the area don't realize it's there. That's how I kind of understood it. And but they were up there studying it and taking pictures and probably drawing what they are. And we have that famous man mound in Wisconsin, and I know there's talk about possibly diverting the road because right now the legs are cut off because the road went right through them.
Yeah, and they actually have the legs painted on the road. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if you yeah, so it's kind of like a nice acknowledgement, but kind of cruel too, that it's just like, yep, this is
Right.
where it was. Here's the white paint. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and so I remember going when they was declared a historic site. Um and there was like a big ceremony and everything, and yep, there he is with he's
Little
and
pink
he's
legs.
cut off like, yeah, like right above the knees, it seems like.
Yeah. Right, yeah, right below the knee, looks like below the knees, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was quick, Haley. That's amazing that you got it up there that quick, but also amazing picture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
just saw a picture of that a couple days ago, and I was just astonished that they painted the legs on.
well, and then what good is it now to divert the road around it? I mean, things are probably that were there, whether they were our ancestors buried there or whatever, are no longer there because there's a road there. I just it's too bad because it's a very cool looking mound.
Yeah, actually when we were at that historic site dedication day, they had some folks there from the US Historic Chamber, or one of those kinds of groups, and I raised my hand to ask when they had questions. I'm like, can we get this listed on the UNESCO World Heritage site, as a national, I mean, it's the only example on the planet, I believe, of a human person, as far as I know.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the only one of its kind, and it's part of our human history. We should care about that being destroyed as much as we cared about the fire at Notre Dame Cathedral several
Right.
years ago. I mean, like, this is it's important, and it's important to the history of people who are not native as well. Like, as Wisconsinites and Minnesotans, those are part of our shared history as well.
I know. I noticed the man kind of had Viking horns. No, just kidding. Hey, Arvina, we got 30 seconds here. Give out some information on how we can get a hold of you on Emerge Wisconsin and your website.
Absolutely. Our website is wi.emergeamerica.org, and you can email me at Arvina, ARVINA, at emergewi.org.
Always so great to see you and have you on the show. Happy night. This is our 9th season on the air, and
Yay!
you're a big part of it. And I want to just say a big peeny for coming on and sharing with us and our audience. They love you. We hear about you all the time.
Hijan Kichushkuni. Yay!
Peeny we'll see you.
Bye.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Winter is here. Ramsey County winter warming spaces are now open every night between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. now through March. These spaces are available to anyone in need of a place to warm up overnight. If you or someone you know need a place to warm up overnight, call 651-266-1035 between 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. That's 651-266-1035. To find out more information, visit ramseycounty.us/warming spaces.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Well, normally, Haley, we'd have our friend Bob Blake on, but this seems to be his nap time.
I don't know.
The last few times, and so I can just say, Solar Bear with the Solar News is not here quite yet, but one of the things we kind of have a chat going on with the mothership here, and talk a little bit about our relative Leonard maybe now, and one of the things that we'd like is people to reach out to Biden, and there was over 100 Native nations that reached out to the president about, releasing Leonard Peltier, who's 80 years old and long-serving political prisoner in the United States history. He's not in for murder. He's in for abetting the murder of 2 FBI agents, and he's never admitted to any of those. And so I think that's part of why he's still in there too. He probably could have made a deal years and years and years ago, but it would have been the wrong deal. And we just pray that he can come out someday very soon. And we only have a couple days left for the president now to commute his sentence, Haley.
That's right. Yeah, I was just looking up. I know Leonard Peltier has a website. I was just trying to look it up. But if you type in Leonard Peltier website, there's some great info on there too. I know Indian Collective has been a big supporter for Leonard Peltier's clemency as well. There's a number that you can still text. You can text Free Leonard now to 50302. Again, that's Free Leonard now to 50302. And that'll keep you up to date with Indian Collective's updates with Leonard.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. We had the ability to have him on the show, what was it, a couple years ago, and it was amazing because he called me, and when you're in prison, you only have time for like 10-15-minute call, and I would happen to have 2 phones. I guess it's called a burner phone. No, I'm just kidding. I have 2 phones, and I hit record on the other phone and talked to him in the speaker, and was able to converse with him. And time is running short here, and it would be a great boost to the Native American community, because Haley, he was used as an example during those turbulent times of the American Indian movement, and just after Wounded Knee, the occupation of Wounded Knee, and the FBI wanted to make an example of them. And then, as history goes, too, the strong group American Indian movement didn't have as much power after that. After Wounded Knee and after all these things, people were being put in jail, and the courts, and it really kind of broke up the AIM advantage, because the American government was really afraid of what the American Indian movement was doing and could do. And so this is all just a big part of the picture of keeping us natives down. And because American Indian movement made a lot of Native American people really proud that they were Native, and it was a good time. And we had our uncle Clyde Belcourt, who passed away, a founding member of AIM, on many times in the last 8 years before he passed away. I guess it's 2 years now that he's gone. And he was a big supporter of Native Roots Radio, and big supporter of me personally. And I talked to him. I was on his phone call list, where he would call once a day to a bunch of people, because he was in the house a lot because he was getting up in years. And so it was just, checking in. It was I miss Uncle Clyde, and we need to get Leonard out.
Yeah, absolutely. So please just keep encouraging your senators, representatives, send them a letter, an email asking President Biden, ask them to ask President Biden to grant Leonard Peltier's clemency and immediate release. I know there's a couple great email templates out there too, to send in. Well,
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to sneeze, Haley, so you might have to tell a joke or a riddle here in a second, or we have
okay.
maybe we can bring up what's happening at the bookstore again coming up.
Yeah, that would be great. I know that First Seller Books is at AM 950, our home station sponsor, or one of their sponsors. And you're going to hear, they're going to have a reading with Indigenous authors, Bruce White and Melanie Benjamin. They're going to be discussing the Minnesota Historical Society press released this book. It's They Would Not Be Moved, the enduring struggle of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe to keep their reservation. And you can hear Bruce White and Melanie Benjamin talk about this book at 6 p.m. Wednesday, January 22nd, at Next Chapter Booksellers at 38 South Snelling Avenue in St. Paul.
Right off Grand. It's right around the corner of Grand Avenue, and right down the street from Dunn Brothers Coffee. And then a few blocks up, one of our sponsors, Just Steve's coffee shop that sponsors us.
JS Bean Factory.
Yeah, right up the street. So stop there, have a coffee, tell them we sent you, and then come down. And what's really cool and interesting, Haley, is that the Minnesota Historical Society is really supporting the Native story here. And it's part of the history and part of prehistory, because as we know, the colonizers only think of prehistory as before them, but this is real history. And it was during the 1855 treaty they were talking about in this book. But I got to give a shout out to Kathy Coates again. We went into this with Banish, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time we talked about her, Haley, but she sold over 3,500 books, and usually people that write books for the Minnesota Historical Society do about 4,000 in the whole life of the book. So maybe in 10 years they sell 4,000. So she did really well. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, Ho-Chunk's history in Minnesota has been, been trying to be erased for as long as Ho-Chunks have been here. I mean, been exiled, and a lot of people and tribes in the area don't like to include us, but we were here coming over the St. Croix River and being welcomed by Dakota neighbors and welcomed on bison hunts. And it was a community thing back, in those days in ancestral Ho-Chunk times. And, we didn't have borders.
Right.
We didn't have reservations.
Well, what's interesting too, because we've been removed, we've had our own, as Ho-Chunks, our own Trail of Tears 6 or 7 times. because we've been moved, and each move cost a lot of lives, a lot of Ho-Chunk lives, and but we're still here and we're resilient, and you and I are related, and we have a lot of other people that we're related to, and we're still here, and it's amazing to talk about this and think about that Howard McKee and Houghton and all those names that are big in our family and big in Ho-Chunk. So we're still here, and if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resilience, and Haley and I are still here, and the Ho-Chunk people and over 500 nations recognized tribes are still here.
Absolutely. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote, and free Leonard Peltier.
Now.
Now.